transpiration. So transpiration is the process of what? Loss of water in the form of water vapor from the leaves and other aerial parts of the plant. So transpiration is process of the loss of water either from the leaves and the other aerial parts of the plant. Now here there is a small demonstration of the process of transpiration which is given in your 6th standard. Also you must have tried this experiment in your 6th or 7th standard. So let us see what is this experiment actually. Now here we have you have to take one medium sized plant over here and you have to cover it with a polythene bag. So even you can try this experiment at home. So here when you cover it with polythene bag, you have to keep it for few hours covered like this in the polythene bag, and you have to leave this plant in the sunlight for maybe an hour or two. So what will you observe is that after some times you will see certain water vapors over here. You will observe certain water vapors on this polythene bag. Now from where these water droplets, from where these water droplets have come, so these water droplets have come, okay, from the process of transpiration. How? Because there is a loss of water which is going on, right? When this loss of water is going on, the water vapors are there, they condense on the polythene bag. As the temperature is cool outside, they will condense and form the water droplets. Okay, then you take one more polythene bag, simply a polythene bag, and you tie its mouth and keep it in the sunlight. Okay, this will show no droplets of water, and this is a control. Now what is control? You must have seen a previous lesson also, there was something called as control. Let me tell you, control is a biological term. Okay, basically it is, what this control is, it is providing us a baseline. So it helps us to compare with the other experiments. Okay, it helps to compare with the other results. So the researcher who is there, who is doing a research, he always has a control. Okay, he always has a control, that is just to compare the other experiments. Okay, now what we are supposed to do is, so this is the process, the water droplets are seen on the polythene bag. Now if you take a cobalt chloride paper, or cobalt chloride paper is basically used for checking the moisture, and if this particular cobalt chloride paper is kept inside and if it is turning moist, okay, sorry, if it is turning pink, then we say that the water was that the particular water droplets are water, that is the moisture. Okay, that is the reason we are using a cobalt chloride paper. Okay, now let's go to the second experiment. I hope this experiment is clear with you. Now the second experiment. Now in the second experiment we can see here that there are three particular bell jars which are given over here. Okay, setup A, B and C. So three bell jars are given. So can you see the C1 is the control, as I told you to just analyze the experimental results of it. So C is used as a control. Now let us see what we are supposed to do in this. Now you have to take a setup A, you have to take a small watered plant basically having wide broad leaves. Okay, broad leaves should be taken, and in one case in set A you have to take you have to tie it like this. Okay, take a plant and enclose the pot completely with a polythene bag and tie the mouth of the bag firmly around the base of the stem. So can you see here? Okay, this is the polythene bag and it is tied. Okay, tie the mouth of the bag firmly at the base of the stem. So here it is tied. Now this would prevent the escape of water, okay, water vapor from the plant. And now you have to just cover it with a particular bell jar. Okay, then setup B, what you are doing in setup B also same way, you have to take another similar plant. Similarly you have to tie it with a polythene bag here, but here what you are doing is you have to enclose. Here you are also keeping a piece of dry cobalt chloride over here. Okay, you are keeping a piece of dry cobalt chloride by the side of the plant, and this paper can be pinned. So this is, the paper is pinned on the wooden stick or a strip of cloth. So as I told you, cobalt chloride is an indicator of moisture. Okay, it will turn blue when it is dry and it becomes pink when it is exposed to moisture. Now in the third setup you just have to put the cobalt chloride paper and the which is tied on the wooden stick. Okay, this is setup C. Now you have to keep these bell jars for half an hour. Okay, after half an hour what do you observe? You can observe that bell jar A, which is there, it has water vapor condensed on the inner walls. Can you see? These are the water droplets. How? By the process of transpiration. Then the second bell jar which is there, you would see that there is same condensation process is there. The water droplets have condensed over here, as well as the cobalt chloride paper which is there, it has turned into pink. When it is turned into pink, which indicates what? It was exposed to moisture. and we can see that the blue color of the cobaltic chloride paper is remaining blue itself, so when it is dry. Okay, so here we can say that there are no change, nothing, no water droplets, nothing on the bell jar, as well as the indicator also is as it is, no change in the indicator also. So what does this prove is that the third bell jar, we said that it's a control which proves that there was no moisture and in the air due to transpiration, and as there was no plant only inside it. So if we take all the three bell jars, we can conclude that there is a double visual proof of transpiration. So here we can say that there are two ways in which transpiration is proved. First way, condensation of water vapor into droplets, as well as second, the cobalt chloride turning into pink. Okay, the change of the cobalt chloride. So these two indicate that transpiration process had been taken place in this setup. So I hope these two experiments are very clear with you. Now how do we measure the transpiration? Okay, now here we are going to see few methods that how to measure the transpiration, measurement of transpiration. So there are some number of methods for transpiration here. So first method is the weighing method. Now what is this weighing method? I will tell you. So first, in the weighing method, here I have just drawn a small little diagram. You can see that in the first part you have to take the potted plant over here. Okay, you just weigh the potted plant over here. First you weigh the plant, you will get some value which is x grams. Okay, now what you are supposed to do it is that the soil surface and the pot should be covered. Okay, covered, so that evaporation, I mean to prevent the evaporation, and then you have to measure it again. So for example, covered means what, just we will put a polythene bag. Okay, first we have measured it, it is x gram, then you measure it with covering with a polythene bag. So you will observe that there is some, say let's 1, I have just taken a value. You will see that there is a loss of weight in the plant after covering it with the, okay, so the soil surface and the pot should be covered to prevent evaporation. So the loss in the weight by the plant during the time is due to the loss of water. Because of the loss of water, it has lost its weight. So this loss of water is what? Because of the process of transpiration. So this is the weighing method. One more improved method of weighing method is the diagram which is given in figure 5.3. So if you see here, the diagram is given, that is 5.3. What is done in this case is, what is done in this case is the improvement in the weighing method which is there. It can be done by using a glass bottle which is linked by a rubber tube. So this is a glass bottle which is there. Okay, this is the particular glass bottle. In this glass bottle you can see that there is a kind of a tube, graduated side tube, which is fitted over here. Okay, the water level, now what happens here over here, when the transpiration process is going on, you can see that the plant is put into this. When the transpiration process is going on, there is a decrease in the level of the water in the graduated side tube. Okay, so this decrease indicates that the transpiration has taken place, and the volume of the water loss, that can be compared with the loss in the weight. How? By just converting with the help of weighing machine, by converting the cc, that is the cubic centimeter, into grams. Okay, by just weighing it, we can analyze, we can understand that what is the measurement of transpiration. So this is one method, that is the weighing method. How we can do? We can just measure the volume and convert that volume into gram, which is by just measuring it, that is 1 cc water weighs 1 gram. So this is how the weighing method is done. Then another weighing method which is there, it is with the help of a test tube. Okay, now how is this weighing method done? Now here I have a test tube with me. Okay, inside that test tube I have put a small plant. Okay, I have put oil on the top of the plant. Why is the presence of oil? Just to reduce the rate of evaporation. Okay, now here we have this is how the process is done. There are no roots present inside it. Okay, so now this test tube, you have to keep it in a small little beaker. Okay, you have to take this test tube and you have to put it in the beaker. So when you put this test tube into the beaker, you have to weigh it. Okay, after weighing it, the beaker as well as the test tube, the beaker and the test tube, both the things you have to weigh together. After weighing it, you have to remove this test tube and keep it in a test tube stand and let it be there for few hours. Okay, after keeping the test tube in the beaker stand, okay, take the test tube, the test tube stand, take the test tube. Now you weigh the test tube again by keeping it in the beaker. There will be a difference. So any difference in the weight will indicate the water, the weight, any difference in the weight will indicate the loss of water by the chute, which is due to transpiration. Since there are no roots to actively absorb water, the water loss is much less. It will be very less through transpiration. Okay, I hope it is clear. What did we do? First we took the test tube. There was oil poured into it. The plant was inserted into it. You have to place it inside a beaker and weigh the test tube. Now remove the test tube. Keep it in the test tube stand. Let it be there for few hours. Now again take the test tube, put it in the same beaker and measure it again. Okay, you will find that there is a difference. There will be any difference. If there is any difference, which indicates loss of water by the chute. Here roots are not there, so the absorption of water will be very less because of transpiration. I hope these two weighing method experiments are clear. Now let us proceed towards the another experiment, which is called as the potometer method. Now what is this potometer, right? Potometer is nothing to be done with pot. It is just the meaning in Latin, that is poton is to drink and meter is to measure. So potometer is a device which measures what? It measures the rate of water intake by plant. How much water it has taken. Okay, that is measured by the potometer. Okay, so here, and this water intake is almost equal to the water loss through transpiration. So if we are measuring the rate of water intake, that rate of water intake is basically same as that of the water loss during transpiration. Okay, so here potometers are of various types. So there are various types of potometers: Farmer's potometer and Ganong's potometer. So we are going to learn about Ganong's potometer. Farmer's potometer and Ganong's potometer are basically used to measure the rate of water intake. Then Darwin's potometer is used to demonstrate the suction pressure, suction force created due to transpiration. And Garrio's potometer are used to measure the unequal transpiration which takes place from the two surfaces of the dorsoventral leaf. So if this is a leaf, okay, if this is a leaf, this particular Garrio's potometer will measure if this is the first side of the leaf and this is the back side of the leaf. So these both rates of transpiration are measured from the unequal transpiration from two surfaces of dorsoventral leaf is measured by the Garrio's potometer. So these are the different types of potometers: Farmer's potometer, Ganong's potometer, rate of water intake; Darwin's potometer, suction force; and Garrio's potometer, unequal transpiration from the surfaces of dorsoventral leaf. Okay, so now in this lesson we are going to see what is actually Ganong's potometer. Now see this is the Ganong's potometer which is there. Now let us see the setup of Ganong's potometer. So here we have a beaker which contains of colored water. This is actually the setup for it. Okay, this is, we can say that it's a capillary tube which is there. Okay, here is the scale for just measuring the volume of the liquid. Here we have a stopcock, a reservoir of water. Okay, and this is also a tube like thing, and a plant is put over here. Okay, a small plant is put over here. Okay, now here we are going to see how this particular experiment works. Now you can see that there is a small twig of plant taken here. It's a coleus plant. You can just see the picture of coleus plants on Google, or you will be able to understand what is this particular plant. So this is a coleus plant. Now here this coleus plant has to be cut obliquely from the particular plant. Okay, now here the entire apparatus which is there, it is filled with water. You can see that there is full water and there are no air spaces inside the water. There should be no air spaces inside it. It is completely airtight with water. Okay, watertight, you can say. It's completely watertight. Now here what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to introduce an air bubble over here. Now how will you introduce an air bubble over here? Is just by lifting this capillary tube up. Okay, as soon as you lift the capillary tube up, okay, which is there in this water, okay, you have to just lift this bent capillary tube, and because of this what happens, a suction is prepared over here. There's a suction is prepared over here, and then after that again you dip inside the water. It's a very difficult task. You have to pick this up so that a small suction, or because of the suction force, a small bubble is introduced over here. Okay, now as the transpiration is taking place, okay, as the transpiration takes place, what happens? Suction force is set up Okay, suction force means it is pulling, right? Transpiration, it needs water now, water loss needs water, water loss needs water. So here you can see that the air bubble is, we can say that air bubble in the capillary tube also moves along. Okay, and here the readings of the capillary tube would give the volume of the water lost in the given time. So as the air bubble proceeds further, we can record the observation. Okay, the readings on the capillary tube would give the volume of the water in a given time. Now the air bubble, again you have to bring it back. So how it is brought back? By just releasing some water. So as this air bubble proceeds further, you are supposed to take the readings over here. Now again this is if you want the air bubble back over here, what are you supposed to do? You will open this stopcock. As you open the stopcock, the water will enter and again the air bubble will go back. Okay, are you understanding how it is done? This is a setup of Genong's potometer. Potometers are not measuring the loss of water, but what do they measure? They measure the water uptake by the cut chute. How much water it is taking. Will be taking the water, so how much it is taking. Okay, so here once again, this is a bent tube, this is the colored water. The bent tube is lifted up and small air bubble is introduced over here. Okay, as the transpiration process is going on, the process of loss of water, here the stem, this particular part of the stem will be taking in water. Okay, as the air bubble proceeds further, we will be taking the reading of it. Okay, and that is the volume of the water, which is, we can say that the rate of intake of water during transpiration. Okay, and then afterwards again, if you want to introduce the bubble back, you will put some, will open this stopcock, the water reservoir will enter and then it will be, the air bubble will get back. So this is the Genong's potometer. Now there are precautions in using the potometer. First of all, as I told you, the potometer should be watertight. Okay, it should be completely watertight. Then as I told you, the twig which is there, it should be complete cut obliquely as to allow large surface of water intake and to avoid the suction of air bubbles into the twig, which will stop the absorption of water into the xylem. So why we are taking it oblique? So that more water intake will be taken, as well as to avoid the suction. If the air bubble gets over here, okay, if there is any air bubble over here, it will stop the process of what is the process of absorption of water through the xylem. So these are the two precautions. Okay, now what are the limitations? There are limitations. As I told you, introducing the air bubble is not very easy. It's a very difficult or tedious task. Secondly, the twig may be not remaining fully alive for a longer time, okay, because there are no roots, no stem. Third, any changes in the outside air temperature may affect the position of the air bubble in the capillary tube. Any changes in the temperature, whether it is more or whether it is less, will affect the air bubble in the capillary tube. So this is the experimental setup of Genong's potometer. Now next thing which we will be focusing is on transpiration and its types. So majorly there are three types of transpiration process which we will be studying. One is stomatal transpiration, cuticular transpiration and lenticular transpiration. Now out of these three, the most important part is the stomatal transpiration, because most of the transpiration takes place from the stomata. So stomatal transpiration is what? It is from the leaves through the stomata. You have studied about stomata, right? What are stomata? These are nothing but the small little pores which are present on the under surface of the leaves. Okay, then next is cuticular, that is directly from the surface of the leaves and stems. Plant cuticle, we can say the outer covering of the leaves or the stem is called as cuticle. So from cuticular transpiration will be there. And the third one is the lenticular transpiration. Okay, lenticular transpiration is basically from the lenticels. Lenticels are what? These are open surfaces which are present on the old and woody stems. Okay, so these are the three basic types of transpiration. So let us first see what is actually stomatal transpiration. Now you are very familiar with the diagram of the stomata, right? This is stomata is plural, stoma is single. So each the stomata are minute openings on the epidermal layers of leaves, outer layers of the leaves. Now if you see, this is a stomata, it is surrounded with two bean shaped like cells. Okay, so these two bean shaped cells are nothing but, we can say that these are the guard cell. This is the stoma, nucleus, the epidermal cell, the cell wall and the chloroplast. Now what happens during the daytime, this particular stomata is open, okay, wide open, so that the process of that is the intake of carbon dioxide is taken for the process of photosynthesis. Now stomata may range from 1000 to 10,000 per centimeter square. That means in a square centimeter area maximum 1000 to 10,000 stomata can be present. Now how is this stomatal transpiration taking place? Now in what is given out in during transpiration? Water is given out. So basically how this process is taking place? So in stomatal transpiration, water vapor is escaping out from the stomata of the leaf. Now what happens? There is a absorption of the water taking place, right? How is the absorption of water taking place? By the roots. Okay, we studied the processes in that. So when the roots are absorbing this water, okay, when the roots are absorbing the water from the soil, it rises through the stem and then it will reach to the tissues. So then first of all it will rise, it will reach to the stem and then to the leaves. Now on the leaves, then afterwards in the veins, a large number of spongy mesophile cells in the leaves have surfaces exposed to intercellular spaces. Now if you see here, these are the mesophile cells. Now what are the mesophile cells? Mesophile cells are those cells which are these are specialized cells for the process of photosynthesis. So here you can see that there is two types of mesophile cells, palisade and spongy. Now these mesophile cells which are there, they have intercellular spaces in them. Okay, so here you can see this is the plant cuticle, that is the outer covering of the plant. Okay, then this is the upper epidermis, this is palisade layer, then spongy mesophile lower epidermis, and these are the water vapor which is escaping out. So let us see that these mesophile cells which are there, they have lot of empty spaces in them. Okay, intracellular spaces between. Now these surfaces which are there, okay, these surfaces of the cells which are there, they have certain amount of water. Okay, so these surface, we can say that these surface of cells give out some of the water as a thin film. So they will be giving out this water. So when these surfaces are giving out the water, okay, these water will evaporate. Okay, finally the water evaporates, water vapor is formed. This water vapor, what it will do? It will saturate the air which is present in the, intercellular spaces. Okay, this vapor then diffuses into other intercellular spaces and finally it will reach to the stomatal space. Now here you can see that this is the stomatal space. Stomatal space is nothing but before the stomata, whatever space is there, that's it. Okay, and finally it will reach the stomatal space and then it will be given out from the stomata. So once again I will tell you what is the process actually. Okay, water vapor will be escaping from the stomata. So first of all the roots are absorbing the water from the soil. Okay, then this water will be reaching to the stem and then to the leaves and then to the veins of the leaves. Okay, now here these leaves which are there, there are large number of spongy mesophile cells on it. Now these they can be spongy or palisade also. Now these mesophile cells which are palisade and spongy are the type of mesophile layers. Okay, now these mesophile cells which are there, they have intercellular spaces in between them, right? So these surfaces which are there, the surfaces of these mesophile cells which are there, they give out water as a thin film, little amount of water they will be given out. This water will evaporate and water vapor will be formed. Okay, when the surfaces are giving out water, water will evaporate, okay, and water vapor will be formed. This water vapor, what it will be doing? It will be saturating the air in the intercellular spaces. Saturating means more and more amount. Water vapor is kind of a little gas, right? It will go in that air. So saturation, now where will that air go? That air will diffuse in other particles, in other intercellular spaces, right? Connecting intercellular spaces. So like that, here intercellular space, here, the water vapor will be reaching out of the stomata. So the entire amount of water vapor from the surface of the cell into the outside of the atmosphere is the result of diffusion. Now this is the process of diffusion. We studied about diffusion. What is diffusion? That is the movement of the molecules like of water vapor or any other gas, or it can be a liquid also, from the region of their high concentration to the region of their low concentration is called as diffusion, right? So this is how the diffusion process is taking place in this. So I hope this full thing is very clear, that how the water vapor is coming out of these particular leaves. Okay, now this is the vertical section of the part of the leaf showing diffusion from high concentration to low concentration in the outside atmosphere through the stomata. Now if you see, where is the stomata present? Under surface of the leaves. That is the reason it is being done in this way, that from the under surface of the leaves the water vapor is passing on. See, it's very important to understand the diagrams. Now for you I am explaining so many things, and I mean many things are being given to you. What I expect you all to do is, whenever I am teaching any topic, you just go through that topic